Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We are the Owatonna School Board. It's Monday. It's the 28th of April, 5:30. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Tim is going to give us an update on our attendance.
All present.
Great. Let's start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up tonight would be to approve our agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Conversation, any discussion? All in favor with an aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. I'm going to have a quick, very, very quick, just a quick announcement here. In the event that there is severe weather tonight, we're going to take cover. We'll pause the meeting, and we're going to exit the room. We're going to follow Mr. Elstad. We're going to use those south doors. We're going to proceed down the stairs, and Mr. Elstad is going to direct us to the location that would be safe down there. And as soon as things are clear, we will resume our meeting. Let's hope we make it through.
That's
a train.
Yep. Right on cue, Mr. Chair.
Oh my goodness.
A room full of meteorologists and train aficionados. Okay. The first thing tonight would be our mission moment. Mr. Elstad, if you would, please.
Yeah, thank you. Chair Sebring and members of the board, tonight is my sincere honor to shine a light on an extraordinary group of individuals, our district cabinet. These leaders provide the vision, oversight, and dedication that guide our schools every single day. The success of our district has experienced is not by chance. It is a direct result of the innovative, compassionate, and intelligent leadership of this remarkable team. Throughout my tenure as superintendent, I've had the privilege of working alongside this group. Many have been with me from the very beginning, and I'm incredibly grateful for their steadfast partnership and deep commitment to our mission. They are not only among the most talented professionals I've ever worked with, they have also become trusted colleagues and dear friends. Tonight, I'm proud to recognize each of them. I'd have you stand, please, as I call your name. Julie Sullivan, our Director of Teaching and Learning. Chris Pica, who is absent, not very often, but she's absent tonight. Chris Pica, our Director of Human Resources. Mark Stotz, our Director of Finance and Operations. Sarah Knudsen, Director of Special Services. Deb McDermott Johnson, Director of Community Education. And Bob Olson, Director of Facilities, Safety, and Infrastructure. Please join me in thanking this exceptional team for their leadership and excellence they bring for every learner every day. Thanks, I got through it.
You did.
Mr. Elstad, thank you. And it's really easy to, sort of put our heads down and we forget sometimes just how high quality of staff you have and that you've surrounded yourself with. And
They make me look really good. Yeah.
you do a pretty good job from the get-go, but yeah, you're right. It's a high quality team that you have surrounded yourself with, and our district is in a really fabulous place thanks to the hard work of you folks. Thank you. Well, let's move on. Item 5 tonight is public forum. Sarah, do we have any cards? No cards. We're going to keep right on moving. Item 6 is just general information. Do any of you have any questions for Mr. Elstad or members of his staff as it relates to the enrollment report that was part of your packet? We will move on. Item 7 tonight, again, no action required, but we will have board forum. Ron, if you don't mind, I'll start down on your side if we could. And as we're going around, anything that you have in the way of committee reports, let's take care of that while we're at it.
Yeah, from committee-wise, we'll have a finance meeting, I think, on the 12th to hopefully hear the results from the survey. So we'll be able to move forward more with that. I had the opportunity to work at After Prom on Saturday night, so that was an interesting experience.
Your first time?
But it went well, yes.
Was it your first time?
First time working there, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And last? First time?
Well, I'll probably have to do it again. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
Good, thank you. Andrea.
Yeah, we had a facilities meeting earlier this afternoon, and just a couple things to update from that. We were informed about various OPU rebates that we've received regarding the maintenance and upgrades done at the district office, and those come to the tune of $81,000. And in general, there's a $49,000 annual savings because of those upgrades, annual savings. The other things to report are regarding Bridge Street property. There's really been no significant activity, no offers. So we're just holding on that. And the third is just that the pool, you've heard about the pool project, and the tile is out. They're working on the decking, so the demo's started, and they're currently on time, on budget.
Thank you. Jolene?
I was at facilities today, and last week the policy committee met, and we continue just to chunk away and chip away at the list of policies that are up for revision and review.
Yeah, aside from those two committees, I guess we have another one coming up. You'll see in your policy packet today, there are a couple of policies that I wouldn't say they jumped the line, but they did bypass the first reading, and it's simply because there were absolutely no changes, and it was just up for a kind of a routine review. So you'll see those there. I'm assuming Ayub will have an announcement, or someone will announce on his behalf. Otherwise, I would love to. Well, I happened to notice, I was on Facebook, and I'm not there very often, let me tell you. However, I did see a lovely post from Ms. Swanson about our own Ayub, who took the championship spot in,
Whoa.
is it discussion at state? Yeah, I get chills. So congratulations to you, Ayub. Yeah, that was awesome. So I'd love to hear more about that. But congratulations to you. That's it.
But I have nothing tonight.
Nothing for me.
Yeah, nothing for me.
I guess that moves to me. On Saturday, there was prom, of course, and that was lovely. The dance was props to the prom committee. It was so well put together. The march was super organized. I mean, I can't imagine all the amount of work that goes in behind that. The language seal test started today, which is super cool. So they offer Swahili, Spanish, Mandarin, Russian, and it's kind of a interesting scoring system, but takes about an hour and 20 minutes, but it's not timed per se. You can take as much time as you want on it, and I was taking that today, so that was pretty cool. It's a cool opportunity the high school offers, because typically you would have to pay to take a test like that, and we don't have to at OHS, so super awesome.
Yep. This past week, we had ACT testing for juniors and seniors on Tuesday and Thursday. AP testing, I believe, starts next week, and that's for the 15 subjects that OHS offers. And yeah, speech state was on Saturday. So we brought four people. Everyone did amazing. It was a successful day.
Nice.
I have a quick question. Ayub, so going forward, are you just going to wear a shirt around your house that says, I was the discussion champion? And so, like, your parents and siblings just don't even try to argue? Because you're just,
It's a
like,
discussion, not an argument.
Wow.
That's a real-
It's an argument. I mean, very cool event. And next week, I got the opportunity to go to the Minnesota State Capitol and be a house page for a week. So that's something I'm looking forward to as well.
There you go. And it's an interesting time at the legislature, so that will be great.
Perfect time. That's all I had for tonight.
Excellent. Aaron, thank you very much. That's so great to hear that news. I'm reminded, Tim and I were at the district committee advisory committee, and do you want to touch just on some of those new classes?
So every year, they bring new classes to the Curriculum Advisory Committee. Last year, they probably presented 4 or 5 classes. I can't remember all the details, but of all of them, they ran everything but one class, I think, at least one section of them. Some of them as much as 3 sections. Wow. So they're able to get new kind of fresh material into the curriculum at the OHS on. So for next year, they have, again, a proposed list. We had seen the list before, but they believe they're going to be able to offer, again, nearly all of them, at least one section. And so they need to have someone who's qualified to teach it and students who are interested. So it's just neat to see kind of the dynamic nature of the curriculum there and how they're kind of continuing to offer things that are of interest to students. Some of them were, nursing field related, but there's one that was like true crime podcast type stuff from a language arts perspective. So just really cool. Did that cover it?
It did, and even in the room, and it's a room of educators, that the number of people that said, why couldn't these things have been offered when I went to high school? It was really neat. Thanks, Tim. That takes care of item 1, which would be the committee reports as far as, what we've shared with board forum. Anybody have any issues with number 2, the work session report? Any questions with regard to that? How about number 3, the policy revisions? This is a good opportunity. It's first reading on these. Lori addressed sort of the cursory nature of some of them. Any questions with regard to policy? Okay, let's move on. Letter B, administrative report. Mr. Elstad.
Yeah, I'm going to be really brief tonight. Just so that you're aware, we have 28 school days remaining. I was told that by a student today. Elementary student, while I was serving lunch in Lincoln, told me we had 28 days of school left, and I went, oh, great. Just to, as Mr. Kubitschek had indicated, Morrison Leatherman survey launched there. They will complete that next week. There'll be a presentation of the Finance Committee on Monday, May 12th. And then if you remember, we moved the 15th back so that Peter Leatherman could indeed join us at the work session to work through those survey results with the entire board. The Finance Committee, however, will get the first blush at that on Monday to see what that entails. I had Ayub's state champion status on mine. Also, I wanted to announce, and again, I want to thank Chair Sebring and Vice Chair Weisenberger, as well as Sarah Hoffman and Corey Kath for taking part in our student school board representative interviews. The students selected will be Lowell Schultz, and Lowell Schultz will be seated.
There we are.
Okay.
Pause the meeting.
Yep. It is
Morning, folks.
5:42. We'll pause the meeting.
5:42. We'll pause the meeting. Okay. All right. We've done in the past at the August meeting. That would be his first time seated with the board. And again, you'll be asked to take up resolution at the meeting on May 27th to bring Lowell on board. And at that time, we'll also be wishing Erin good luck, as that will be her last board meeting with us. So anyway, time is going fast.
Yes, it is. And I know that Lori is here and can attest to this. Sarah is here and can attest to this as well. These candidates were spectacular. These were great, great candidates that put their name in, and it was awesome. Okay, and that was it?
Yeah, can I just add one more thing? So, the legislature has to be done by about 2 weeks from today. 3 weeks from today, pardon me. We're still seeing that they do have a commitment that they want to finish on time, but they're still a ways away between the Senate and the House and the governor. They're already starting those meetings, though, to come together and kind of plow through it. I think the big thing is, they're looking at bumping up a little bit of the special ed cross subsidy, English learner cross subsidy. And then lastly would be hoping to keep compensatory revenue in a hold harmless state. So what they would do is take the year FY24 for us was a year that we probably were getting more than we would have now, but they would hold us harmless with that. Those are probably the big ones. And again, the other one that would come into play is it would require districts to prohibit cell phones and smartwatches. And I believe, and I'm going to instruct Corey Kath to start taking some steps at the high school to make cell phones not available to students from bell to bell. I'm sure that will be widely accepted by the student body.
You might be surprised how many might be relieved.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. Item 8 tonight would be the consent agenda. The quick reminder, we are approving the minutes from March 24, March 26, April 3, the disbursement and personnel reports. Anybody have any reason that we would pull any of these out?
No, I just want to make note on the personnel report of how many current students and or recent grads are coming back to coach our kids, both that are working in the district and have jobs outside of the district but are choosing to come back and be coaches. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Excellent. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? This is roll call, right?
Yes. Ron?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Jolene?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, 7-0.
Carries. Thank you very much. Item 9 tonight, these are the items that require board action. The first would be policy revisions. Those were all made a part of your packet. This is the second reading. Anybody have any questions as it relates to these policies that we are approving tonight? Looking intently, I'll take that for a no. We'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is this a roll call? This is not. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item B, this is the identified official with authority to authorize user access to MDE secure websites. And that person is Mr. Elstad.
Yes. For about 60 days, it will be me. I'm unsure why the Department of Education doesn't run this on a July 1st to June 30th sort of thing, but Sarah and I lamented that for a while today, and then we decided that probably was something we were going to fix. So when Dr. Champa comes on board on July 1st, you will see the same action item come before the board in July to allow her to be that identified individual with authority.
You want to give us the quick bird's eye view?
Yeah, so what
is
this does is it allows me to submit reports on behalf of the board. Things like when we're doing our compensatory or title budgets, when we're doing special education that goes between Dr. Knutson and myself, all of the reports that are generated, and they are numerous reports, and grants come through the superintendent. And because I have that board designated authority, I can sign on behalf so that those applications are submitted in a timely way.
Any questions? Would one of you happen to have this motion queued up and ready to go?
I move that the board authorize Superintendent Jeff Elstad to act as the identified official with authority for Owatonna Public School District 761 through June 30th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And as you were reading that motion, I'm reminded that I breezed right past the policy revisions. We should probably, who introduced that motion?
I did.
I think it was Jolene. So,
Seconded.
and Tim seconded it. Jolene, would you reread the entire motion to approve the policy revisions, please?
Okay. I move that the board approve the policies as presented.
That's what it says.
That's exactly what it says, word for word.
We're okay. Item C tonight would be a farm lease agreement. We have property on Rose Street. Mr. Elstad is going to give us an update on this.
If I may, I'm going to ask Mark Stotts come up and answer questions you might have as he worked with the parties involved with the farm lease agreement. And additionally, for the next item, that would be for consideration of approval as well, so.
Evening.
Mr. Stotts.
Members of the board, superintendent.
You want to hit the button there that turns green? Thank you.
Elstad?
Yeah, there we go.
You know, he keeps me on my toes. So after the first board meeting I attended last month, I noticed that Jeff was given a majority of the reports, and I asked him, I said, are we expected to give reports at the full board meeting? So, nah, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. So this morning, I'm getting dressed, and my wife says, aren't you wearing a suit tonight? Don't you have a board meeting? I said, yeah, but Jeff told me, don't worry about it, you know. I said, I'm just going to be out in the crowd. Well, I get to work this morning, and the first thing he says is, would you mind presenting these two items at the board meeting this evening? So here I am. And the first item, and Jeff knows I like to poke fun at superintendents, so Tammy has that to look forward to. First item tonight is the farm lease. This is an agreement that we enter into annually with the FFA to lease them the 35 acres off of Rose Street. They have a contract farmer that does all the work for them, but the students are very involved in the agriculture and the farming of this property. So the total rental amount is $35 per year, which approximates to $1 per acre. And they're really good partners. Obviously, it's a great benefit to the kids that are in this program. So With that, I'd recommend approval, and I'm willing to answer any questions you might have.
And the bird's eye view is the students, the FFA students are active in not only the selection, from the, planting all the way through harvest.
Correct.
They have a really active role in this.
That's correct. That's correct. It's a wonderful learning opportunity. I don't know if I've been in a district where kids have this type of opportunity in the ag program, so kudos to the district and FFA and everyone involved, so.
Excellent.
So
Good.
really, it's like an outdoor classroom. I mean, really, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Terrific. Any questions?
I just have one thing. So somebody that was involved with the group just spoke very favorably of Mark and the district in the process and said that they were pleased with how it went, so.
Well, it was one of my first meetings when I came to work here, and I found out I had a connection with a couple of the people in the room, so that helps too.
Good. Would one of you please introduce this motion for us?
I move that the board approve the farm lease agreement with FFA as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any further conversations? Hearing none. All in favor with an aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Stay where you are. Item D tonight would be the insurance renewal. An update here, if you would. Go ahead. Why don't you go right ahead and.
Okay, so the insurance committee met, and Aaron Casper with NIS, who's our insurance rep, went through basically all the numbers. And I will say this past year, the year that we're currently in, our experience has not been as good as in previous years. So usage was up. Usage is up more than what premiums will cover. Thankfully, we've got about a $2.1 million fund balance in this self-insured plan. We'll be able to cover that without any issues, but we do feel the need to raise the premium for next year by 9% on health insurance and 3% on dental insurance. Again, it's all about money in, money out, and if premiums coming in aren't enough to cover the usage of the plan, then we end up with an imbalance and we have to raise rates. Even at 9%, this is still pretty good in comparison to a lot of self-insured plans and fully covered plans. I would say if we can keep it under double digits, we're good. We've gotten spoiled the last few years when it's been about a 3% increase. Trend alone is more than that. And so even if our claims were exactly equal to what our premiums are, we'd still see an increase. So with that, I'd entertain any questions you might have and recommend approval of these insurance rates.
Maybe just one clarification. I was thinking too about the rates we've paid since we became self-insured, and I don't know if, I realize you haven't been here, and I don't expect you to know. Do you happen to know, or did they discuss that at your, did the consultant mention it, or?
Not
That's
that
right.
I recall.
Yeah. I'm just thinking to myself that if we were to even average out the last year since we've been on this plan, I mean, again, we're going to be, I'm just wagering between 4 and 5. We've had some really good years.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it would average out to. I do know last year was only 3%.
Right. Saw that a few years, I think.
That's as far back as I went. And I told the committee, in the good years, we get to build that reserve to cover ourselves in years like this. The rate increase could have been higher. So we are fortunate that we do have those reserves. And the plan has been working as intended, so.
And then I just noted a 9/1 renewal, so it doesn't coincide with our
No.
fiscal year. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, typically, in education, things are July 1st to June 30th. Health insurance is the exception.
Good. Any further questions, I should say?
You know what, I don't have a question, but I just want to recognize just that how, especially being a patient in the medical world as we all have, but then also working in the medical world, it's so challenging, and insurance is never a fun or easy topic, and it's so expensive all around. And so I hate to see that we have to raise things, but I think it's expected. But I just want to recognize that it's hard for everybody, and I think we all recognize that with the increased cost of things.
All right. With that, would one of you please introduce this motion for us?
I move that the board accept the self-insured health insurance renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Stotts. Item E tonight would be an extended trip request. This is somewhat unique. Mr. Elstad, if you would.
Yeah, this is the first request we've had for this very trip, but our science department, one of our staff members in the OHS science department, has requested an extended trip request that would travel to Iceland. This is part of science and geology. Obviously, Iceland is uniquely situated with a lot of geological sort of things you wouldn't see anywhere else on the planet. And there was, after my discussion with Mr. Kath, there is quite an interest in this topic. In fact, I believe he said there were over 50 students and families at the initial meeting, and he had 9 or 10 that had already committed to being on this trip. So it's an interesting trip. We've seen before trips to Europe and so on for mostly world languages, but this is an interesting trip that really ties in some of those earth science pieces. So.
Offline, we were talking about this, and you addressed one of the concerns that we raised, which is it's an expensive trip,
Yes.
and what measures are being taken to help families where that would be a challenge?
Yeah, so there, I mean, the trip is scheduled for a ways off, as you can see. I mean, it's almost a year and a half or better away. And so they're going to be having many opportunities for students to do their own fundraising as well as some group fundraising along the way to defray the costs. You know, I often posit trips that are going to cost individual students nearly $5,000 to go. But again, there are also some donors within our community that have stepped up to identify that if students need assistance, that they'd be willing to help with that as well. So it's a unique trip. And again, if there wouldn't have been the student interest, I don't believe I would have brought this forward for your consideration of approval. But I do want to recognize that there's quite a showing of support for this right now. And again, it is incumbent, of course, upon the students raising the money. So there could be an update later that it's just not feasible to do so. But again, I want to embrace that student interest. So.
You know, the other thing I would just point out in reviewing the application, I appreciated item 10, where it talks about whether students, a portion of their fee will be supporting the chaperones' costs, and the answer was no.
Mm-hmm.
So chaperones presumably will foot their own bill, which again, given the cost and the fact that it is student-focused,
Yep.
I appreciated that.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Further discussion? Ron, do you have this one queued up?
I move that the board approve the trip request to Iceland as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor with an aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Last item tonight, gifts to the district. Item F, Mr. Elstad. Oh, I'm using an outdated, thanks. Extended trip request. This is for the band.
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Elstad, I apologize. I had an old.
So our band has before traveled to different places. Happens to be a request for a trip to Colorado. That would occur this summer with our marching band. And so again, fairly similar to those they've done in the past as far as how their travel arrangements are. Mr. Ginther always finds a good group of people to chaperone and go with on these important opportunities for our students to perform and kind of hone their crafts. So.
Discussion? Any questions? Andrea, it seems appropriate to have you introduce this motion for us, please.
Sure. All right, I move that the board approve the trip request to Colorado as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor with an aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Now, item G, gifts to the district. Mr. Elstad.
Yeah, there's a few gifts I'll mention tonight. I do want to thank, because I know we have a representative here tonight from Lindbergh Productions, that they sponsored some activities, so $250. I'm looking at you like maybe you don't even know, but there was a sponsorship from Lindbergh. And I also want to appreciate the fact that Scott and his team do come and do our video for meetings. So thank you for being here, even on this stormy night. So we are also the benefactors in our district with our students and community when we have a Wenger Corporation step forward to sponsor a very, very talented brass group that was here this past month. The Dallas Brass Group was here. Outstanding musical performance. And just one of those opportunities for our students to participate with the Dallas Brass Group, as well as to make sure that they're watching that, because I was at the jazz band concert here a couple weeks ago, and to see one of our very own perform with his jazz band that's now probably, I'll call it amateur and or professional jazz band, that's where these little sparks of inspiration start, is watching someone else. So anyway, those are things I lift up tonight. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. Any questions? Elizabeth, do you have this one?
I move that the board approve the resolution for the acceptance of gifts as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Tim, if you would, please.
Ron?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Jolene?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
And I am an aye, 7-0 pass.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. With that, item 10 would be to adjourn. I will make the motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor with an aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Good. Interesting meeting tonight, folks. Thank you very much.